communicate. Thomas is also going to show some demos and give an in-depth background into Solace and their technology. We do have some questions, Q&A slots, so feel free to type your questions into the chat, and we will answer those when the Q&A sessions come around. So just to kick it off into OpenFin, right? Capital markets really has been much of the same over the last 20 years. When we look back at the desktop now, it really is similar. With XP was hung around for way too long, and Windows 7 is still very active across these desktops. And we see what we have on our smartphones is just a complete different experience in terms of innovation. And the innovation problem, really is rampant across capital markets desktops, with this inability to quickly get applications to your end users, also to update those applications and to have them work together on the desktop, where the interoperability currently is the actual person in front of the desktop being that integration layer. But when we look at what we have in our smartphones, this instant ability to get applications, have them update automatically, and then have everything be able to interoperate, meaning I could be in my calendar, open a map, call an Uber, and then send a message to my friend, and just have that streamlined workflow. That's what we've all become accustomed to on our smartphones. And we started to get some good feedback. Greenwich Associates did this report that showed $1.5 billion is spent annually on this slow and efficient process. And really where OpenFin comes into play is bringing that modern solution down to this desktop by allowing that same type of experience we're all used to on our phones, by immediately installing onto the user's machine without admin rights, being able to manage and control the update process from the app owner level, and that interoperability happening on the client side by default. So how does this all work, right? We're built on top of the Google Chromium project. So it's the standard HTML5 JavaScript web development. You're able to use any type of front-end framework, whether it's Angular, React, Vue, whatever it is. 99% of the code with OpenFin is standard web development. But when we nail into the OpenFin API, it's all of the things that we expose to give it that native experience, right? Things like snapping and docking windows together, saving window states, no address bar or tabs. You get a full first-class citizen application now on our desktops. So when we look at the ecosystem, and some of you may be thinking, well, there's nothing really capital market specific to what our technology is, and you're right? There's an application use to anyone that's building a front-end system here, but where we've really grown is in this ecosystem, where we have a lot of vendors who are building applications. They're deploying these apps to both the sell side and the buy side, whether it's trading platforms, market data, OMS, research. There's a lot of deployment from the vendor community. And we see the sell side mainly building out their single dealer platforms on our technology. That's both used internally and externally. And the buy side being very large consumers of OpenFin applications. So now as building out their desktop strategies on OpenFin, they're able to curate these ecosystem on a persona basis, load in whether it's internal or third-party apps, and just really streamline that workflow for the end user. So just want to quickly show a demo here that will bring what I just said together, and then I could get back into some more detail on that. This is a demo that we built in-house just to show some of the functionality. I'm going to go ahead and just play this video.
Let's take a look at the type of user experiences you can build on OpenFin. I'll start by launching a sample application we built in-house called Whiteboard. There are two pieces. The first is a launch bar that gives the user access to a customizable suite of applications they'll use throughout the day. The second, a notification center, whose job it is to accumulate alerts from these apps in one centralized place. I'll kick off my workflow by launching my chat app. After this brief splash screen, quickly log in. As mentioned, the alerts I receive will be forwarded on to my notification center. But we'll hide that for now and launch a demo plotter we've put together to add some more to our workflow. The first thing you'll notice is that the status in my blotter is actually tied to the status in my chat app. So if I return here, set myself as available, that information is updated here in my trade blotter. I can pop out this widget, dock it to the other side of my blotter, or hide it completely. I can also kick off chats with traders just by double-clicking on their name, or from my chat app, filter my blotter on topics we're discussing, like a ticker or a specific order number. Next, I'll hide my chat and launch a CRM. I can then focus my CRM from the blotter itself just by clicking on a company. This interoperability works across multiple applications as well. I can launch my research platform. Then launch my charting application. And update the context of both simply by clicking on a ticker in my blotter. This is just a simple example of the type of user experiences you can build on OpenFin.
All right, so hope everyone can still hear me here. That was just a nice example. That was a number of different applications built from separate providers, being able to interoperate all through client-side communication using our inter-application bus. So just an idea, you can see that each one of those windows is actually, you could think of it as a tab in a browser, right? But you know, going back to the digital transformation that I spoke about is you could see with that app launcher, right, being able to curate those app stores, putting in all those third-party or internal applications into one centralized spot on a persona basis, and really automate that workflow, right? Being able to launch all those apps, seamlessly have them connect through our inter-app bus, and enable that context and data sharing. We've also introduced workspace management, where we're now able to do all snapping and docking, and saving window states, being able to have your user just open it, start their machine the next day and have it all restore into the same location. And then lastly, the legacy tech migration. And this is something that Thomas is going to get into with his demo, but being able to use the Solace technology now for any of our folks that are looking to migrate to the web, you're able to reuse that same back-end code, really just focus on building out your new front end with OpenFin, and use their PubSub message broker to enable that seamless communication. So half the lift is taken out by this partnership. You saw that there's no address bar, there's no tabs. So some of the other features that you're getting from running an OpenFin rather than a browser, right? You get that notification center, access to the system tray, you can tear out the windows, pop them out, snap them. You get full user presence of usage analytics. You can see whether the screen's locked or idle. Being able to auto start on reboot. So all of these things are just extra features that you can't do within the confines of the browser space. On top of that, right, we're completely removing any cross-browser compatibility issues. We've seen up to 70% of our customers support issues were cross-browser related. By the way OpenFin's configured, you're actually able to point to one specific version that you're going to run on your backend and test, and every single user is going to get that same experience. It's completely managed at the app owner level by just a text file called your app manifest. So when you want to do an upgrade to a new version, you just change that text file. The next time the user clicks on the icon on their desktop, they're going to receive that update. So fully managed from the app owner level. We've seen also up to 30 to 50% of development QA time was spent on this cross-browser compatibility issue. So effectively using OpenFin for this is going to remove a lot of these problems and limitations. And then lastly, just on deployment, we're already deployed in over 500 banks and buy-side firms, which is really great at this point, this critical mass behind us. Good example, one of our customers, corporate bond platform, was able to go to over 200 plus buy-side institutions in just under 2 weeks with a 95% first-time install success rate. So really impressive. No longer are the days you're sitting in the queue, going through packaging and licensing and trying to get your app out there. So we effectively removed that. Last little demo here is what we're talking about with the partnership here with Solace, is their cloud messaging service. And something that we get asked quite often is, maybe I have a trader, they have 2 separate desktops, 2 machines, 8 monitors. How are we able to communicate between those 2 machines? OpenFin's technology allows us to communicate on the client's machine, but with this partnership with Solace, what we're able to do, bear with me one second. I'm going to play this quick video. Now, the UI on this is made simple on purpose, and really the whole purpose here on the left side is a Windows 10 machine. We set up 2 virtual machines. On the right is a Windows 7. And it's simply going to publish a message and receive it on the other machine. So you can configure this when you go, start your development. You're able to build these rich UIs and have context flow however you see fit. But just for the purpose of this demo, we're going to publish a message on the right side here. I think we got a little lag in the video.
It's from sharing.
Oh, there you go. This is Windows 7. So you see, we published that message from our Windows 7 machine. We look over to the Windows 10. It received this message from our Windows 7 box. And conversely, we can now publish a message from Windows 10 and send that back into our Windows 7 machine. So, very simple demo here, just to show that it is possible to now share this context between 2 separate desktops running on OpenFin. So, that's it for the demo on my end. I'm going to pass it here over to Thomas, who's going to give you a brief overview of Solace and show some more demos. Any questions, feel free to write it into the chat, and we'll get to those at the Q&A session. Thank you.
All right, Ryan, thanks a lot. Super interesting tech and demo. And I say, as a former developer on a trading desktop, I really wish I had OpenFin. So it would have made my life a whole lot easier. I'm here to talk to you about Solace and how Solace will help make your life easier as you migrate to the brave new world of HTML5 and JavaScript with OpenFin. So we are deployed in the top investment banks. So 9 to 12 top investment banks actually have our technology deployed. So a lot of the customers on the phone probably are using us. But for those who are not familiar, you've definitely use Solace indirectly. For example, if you have an American Express card, billions of credit card transactions a day. At some point, those credit card transactions flow through Solace. Another very interesting use case is NASA. They recently launched a weather satellite into space, a $4 billion satellite. All of its ground control runs on Solace. So we've been certified by NASA with having 5 nines of reliability, and we're trusted for such a critical function. Another interesting use case is the connected car initiative. So Mercedes, they're launching their connected car initiative, the Mercedes Me initiative, they call it. And when you click a button on your smartphone to start a car, that information gets sent and routed through Solace. So what we're essentially seeing is a deployment across a number of industries, a number of verticals. Capital markets is where we really started, and we've started expanding out into other industries. And the reason being is that data movement is such a pervasive problem that it applies across very, very varied industries, and we've really been honing our product and to cover a lot of these use cases. So we are headquartered in Ottawa, Canada. We have 250 plus employees. 100 of them are focused in R&D. So when they get up in the morning, what they do is they figure out how to make data movement better and constantly innovate with new and really exciting features, which I'll get to in a bit. And so again, we are deployed across a number of industry verticals. So what does that Solace PubSub Plus broker do for you today? Especially as it relates to OpenFin. Say you have OpenFin desktops deployed in New York and London, and you may have some infrastructure in the public cloud. Well, how do you get that information to your OpenFin desktop using native JavaScript and have your server-side processes continue running in Java and Python, whatever language have you? You deploy a Solace PubSub Plus broker in every region, and your private cloud, your public cloud, your own data centers, and you have your OpenFin desktops communicate out and make a connection out to the PubSub Plus broker. And what if you wanted to route data between your New York and London data centers, for example? Or what if you wanted to route data from your data center to the public cloud, or even between multiple public clouds? Well, Solace enables that to you, and it's very easy to enable that. To bring this home a bit more to real use case, say you wanted to send an order from your OpenFin trade blotter out to your Python and Java subscribers running in your data center. Well, what you do is you connect, again, using native JavaScript to your Solace PubSub Plus broker, and without the need for standing up any adapters and using open protocols, you make a connection from your Java and Python server-side processes to your PubSub Plus broker, and you send your order to the PubSub Plus broker, and the PubSub Plus broker is then takes the responsibility of distributing out to both your Python and Java server-side processes. Another very interesting use case is, say, for example, you have some trading infrastructure in the cloud, and you want to send an order over from the public cloud to your OpenFin desktop that's running within your own trading floor, connected to your data center. Well, Solace enables that as well. You're able to seamlessly route data between the public cloud and your data center, and ultimately to your OpenFin desktop. And I'm going to be showing you a working demo of this actually happening, and everything from the code changes to setting up bridging and showing you how easy it is to set that all up. So here's a nutshell our offering. We have a variety of offerings. What we started out with is a hardware appliance, custom built, has very cool features like FPGAs and lots of redundancy built in. And this is where you get the 5 nines of reliabilities. And it's deployed across in a lot of our customers for use cases such as market data, all the way from use cases in the front office to the back and middle office as well. So we've also recently have a software offering as well, and this is essentially a software emulation of the code in a hardware appliance, and comes in as Docker container and a variety of other formats as well, and you can spin this up on your own servers. And we also recently launched a cloud offering. So what this means is with the click of a button, you could spin up a managed message broker in the cloud. What's really cool about this is that these 3 offerings seamlessly interop with each other. So from an application perspective, API perspective, you don't really know or care which offering you're connected to. You could connect to the appliance, software, and the cloud, and it's all through the same API. The administration, monitoring, upgrades happens in a similar fashion, and we offer enterprise-grade features that you expect, such as authentication, authorization, and encrypted connections. Then what's another very interesting feature is that you could seamlessly link your solutions together, so you can route data from your appliance to the software to the cloud. And a very interesting use case that one of our retail customers has deployed is they have the appliances deployed in their data center, and for all intents and purposes during the normal working year that works fine. But when you come to a Black Friday event where you have a temporary surge in traffic, what they do is they spin up the software broker in the cloud, and then they route data between the hardware appliance in their data center to the cloud. And when that Black Friday type event is done, they just cut that link, spin down the infrastructure, and resume processing internally within the data center. So a great way to manage that burst capacity and seamlessly move data around to multiple locations. All right, so I'm just going to go over a few very important points of why you should choose Solace as your message broker, especially as it relates to OpenFin. So primarily, OpenFin, HTML5, JavaScript, you want to be able to support multiple languages without the need for standing up any adapters. So what that means is from your OpenFin code base, you just connect to Solace using WebSockets, JavaScript, and your server-side processes are going to continue running in Java and Python and simply connect to the broker. And we take care of that seamless translation for you. Another very important feature of us is our multi-protocol support. And this is really one of the primary ways where we differentiate ourselves from the competition, and it really works well with the OpenFin construct. These are all open APIs, and you connect to Solace with these open APIs without the need, again, for standing up any sort of adapters. So what this means for you is that typically when you deployed a message broker in your environment, you're tied to that vendor's API. And what that means is that it works fine for 1, 2, 3, 5 years, but the vendor comes back and starts squeezing you for maintenance. And personally, that's something I experienced as a developer, and I'm sure that's a lot of what we hear from our customers as well. And they stop innovating. So what do you do? Well, you jump on the next shiny message broker, and you have to migrate your APIs as well. And it really forces you. It leads to a lot of lag in deployment and causes complexities because you're running a mixed messaging broker environment. And so the way the industry has solved that is accessing message brokers through open APIs. So we have the Cupid we support the Cupid AMQP protocol. We also support the PAHO MQTT API. And what that means for you is that you talk to the broker with these open APIs. And if you're not happy with Solace, you can swap us out with any other broker. And so we don't want you to use us because you're tied to our API. We want you to use us because we are the best message broker on the planet, which means we offer the best world-class support. We're constantly innovating with new features. And so we're fully confident that you're going to be using us for our features rather than being tied to our APIs. Another very important feature is that's important for message broker, especially in the capital markets environment, is slower offline consumer handling. What happens when the link between your OpenFin desktop and the Solace PubSub Plus broker becomes slow, or if it goes offline because there's a cut in the network cable? Or what happens if your computer crashes because it loses power? Well, you want to be sure that you deliver messages to your healthy OpenFin clients without any degradation in performance or in SLA, and we handle that. Another very important use case, you want throttling support. So you could have a server-side process that publishes messages or prices to your algorithmic trading engine at a very fast rate, so thousands of updates a second. Now, when you want to deliver that to the desktop, you want to slow that down because the human eye can only process 4 to 5 updates a second. And so we enable that. You could configure on a per topic basis the ability to slow down messages. And it's a great way to have interop between your fast pricing engine and your desktop, which is being looked at by a human being. Very important feature when it comes to the enterprise is authentication and authorization. So you want to maintain the Chinese firewall within your trading desk, and what that means is you don't want certain desktops to see certain flows. And we provide authentication and authorization, which enables you on a per topic basis to restrict flows to certain users. And we also offer authentication through Kerberos and a basic authentication paradigm as well. So table stakes, right? HA and DR capabilities. What happens when your broker goes down in your data center? Well, we offer a fully HA architecture out of the box, and we do that with guarantees of zero message loss. And we also enable DR operation across data centers. And you could configure that in asynchronous or synchronous modes, which allows you to do either guarantees of no message loss across data centers when your primary data center goes down. So lots of configuration and flexibility there. Another, again, very, very common use case is routing data across a WAN from your New York data center to your London data center. And this, again, comes all out of the box. And another very important feature, or commonly asked for feature for a while, is the ability to replay messages from your production environment to your test environment, or if there is a corruption of a database, the ability to replay messages. So that's a feature we just announced. It's in beta right now. It's going to go GA by the end of the year. All right. So now we're going to open it up for Q&A.
There's one question for you in the chat. Ken wants to take it, or
I can write an answer, but it's just, does the JavaScript API use standard WebSocket to connect to the broker?
Yes, we connect through WebSocket. So from a JavaScript perspective, we have our own Solace JavaScript API, which uses WebSockets, and that's something I'll be demoing through the technical walkthrough. We also fully support the MQTT API, which is a open standards, open source API that has operability over WebSockets as well. So we do both.
It also supports full protocol negotiations. So if you have a browser that does not support WebSockets, we'll negotiate down to a comment long pole or any other option.
Yep, great point.
So you talked a bit about the public cloud. Can you just explain what you see customers doing with the cloud today?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a variety of customers across capital markets and many different industries. What we're seeing is, especially within capital markets, is that our customers are just beginning their public cloud journey, and what they're telling us, they don't want to be locked into a particular cloud and their APIs. And so that works very well with Solace's paradigm. It allows you to create a cloud agnostic mesh, if you will, of standing up brokers in different clouds and making use of different clouds functionalities and machine learning tools and various APIs. And we're going to post a demo in the chat that shows how we've made use of machine learning tools in AWS, Azure, and GCP using the Solace PubSub Plus broker, and abstracted the implementation of the various APIs from the demo. So it's a great way of maintaining your independence from being locked into a public cloud. Any other questions?
All right, doesn't look like any more questions, so we're just gonna keep pushing forward here.
All right.
well, I believe one question just came through,
Okay.
which is,
We use XMPP. Not familiar with that wireline. Is that a wireline?
Is that a wireline? What exactly?
Or is it a serialization format?
can you please talk more on replay as well?
Yeah, sure. So our replay functionality allows you to replay messages that have been sent to the broker. And our initial cut allows you to specify a timestamp. So you could specify being able to replay messages from a specific point in time, and you could send it to a specific client, and you could send it to a specific queue, and that's pretty much how it works. So our initial release is going to offer that functionality, and with future releases, we're going to offer much more flexibility. And you could kick off the replay through both an API and a central administrative tool.
And then how are you helping with cross-broker data transfers?
Yeah, so we're gonna show you a demo of how that's accomplished. But essentially, we offer native WAN routing out of the box, so you're able to connect brokers together. We've also implemented the TCP stack from the ground up, so you could do fancy things like changing your TCP window sizes to accommodate for poor latency WAN links, which we commonly come across when, for example, you're shipping data from New York all the way out to Singapore. And again, this comes default. You don't have to stand up any third-party processes, and very easy to set up as well.
I can speak to this as well. We have a customer who has a Swiss data center, which they need segregated from all their other flows. And because of the built-in virtualization, the built-in ACLs, and the built-in controls and and separate identity management support is that they can have Swiss flows that only are available to Swiss customers, but the Swiss customers can actually access EMEA data, but not the other way around. So we offer all the kind of controls around this, both cross geographies and within an individual broker for this.
Good questions. Do you want to push on? Should I push on? Yeah. All right. And I'm going to go through a technical walkthrough, and I'm going to show you a few interesting use cases. So obviously, the very first thing to do is you're going to have to set up your Solace PubSub Plus broker, and you do that in 2 very easy steps. You pull the Docker image from Docker Hub, and you run a command to launch a broker, and you expose ports. And we have a GitHub write-up on how to get started with this broker. And when you want to do it in OpenFin, you want to do it over secure web sockets and import certificates. So all those steps will be in the GitHub repository, which we'll paste in the chat.
So is Docker the only format that you offer the broker in?
No, we offer in a variety of formats. So Docker is obviously perhaps our most popular format, but you also have ESXi images, which you could import into your favorite virtual machine. We also offer the QCOW format. We have quick start guides for Kubernetes, OpenShift platform. We have strong integration with PCF, Pivotal Cloud Foundry, for your private clouds. And we also have a managed cloud offering, which again, I'll be showing during my demo. And what that means is you click a button, spin up a message broker, and start interacting with it. And that's what your Inter desktop demo was built out of, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Right. All right, so here's what I'm going to be demoing, just to give an overview. So we have the OpenFin client that's connected to our Solace PubSub Plus broker that's going to be launched on our desktop, my desktop, and it's going to communicate over native WebSockets, and we're going to use open protocols and open standards to receive data from the PubSub Plus broker. So again, we do this without the need for standing up any third-party adapters. We do the wireline translation for you, so your deployment becomes really simple. It's dead simple. In addition, we're going to spin up a broker in the cloud in AWS. We're going to do RESTful interactions, which is a protocol, again, we support out of the box without the need for standing up any adapters. We're going to do a RESTful interaction with the PubSub Plus broker and have that translated by the broker into a stream, bridge it to the PubSub Plus broker running on my desktop, and ultimately to your OpenFin client. All right, so now I'm just going to spin up. All right, so the very first thing is I'm gonna show you my Java and Python subscribers. And what you see here is we're using the open source Cupid API, so there's no reference to Solace here, and that's how you interact with our message broker. And I'm gonna subscribe to a very simple topic, OpenFin Hello World, which is just metadata you attach to the message to determine where it's going to be sent and who's going to receive it. And then I'm gonna print the message standard out. In addition, I'm gonna spin up a Python subscriber, and again, the Python subscriber is using the open source Apache Paho APIs. Again, no reference to Solace here. Somebody looking at this wouldn't know they're interacting with Solace. From there, we're gonna just print the message to standard out as well, right? So now I'm going to make changes to the OpenFin grid code to integrate Solace. So the very first thing you do is you download the Solace libraries from a developer, and this is also available as an NPM package. And I've also wrapped a convenience functions for publishing and subscribing to messages, and this is available on the GitHub. And so now we're going to make changes to the grid code, and we establish connectivity to the broker, and we do this on localhost. Right, which is where I've deployed the broker, and this could very well be your server in your data center. And I'm going to subscribe to the OpenFin Hello World topic. And then I'm just going to call connect function to connect to the broker. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, when you click the grid, it's going to send a message using the topic publisher construct, JSON representation of the grid object. All right, now I'm going to show you this working in action. All right, so I have a Python subscriber on top. I'm going to start that up, and you can see it's subscribed to OpenFin Hello World. And I'm also starting my Java subscriber, and it's subscribed to OpenFin Hello World as well. I'm going to click on a trade by Mozzie, and it's going to show up in my Python and Java subscriber. And I'm also going to click on a trade done by Ryan Hunter, and it's going to show up again in my Python and Java subscriber. Yeah, so that's very, very simple demo. And
So what did you have to do to enable these open standards on the Solace broker? Did you stand up adapters that do the translation license or for each protocol?
No, you don't have to purchase anything. You don't have to stand up adapters. We do that wireline translation for you. It comes enabled by default. And so all you have to do is expose the ports in your Docker container, and you connect to a port for a specific protocol, and it does that wireline translation for you. So in this case, my OpenFin subscriber didn't know or care that there was a Java subscriber using the Cupid APIs or a Python subscriber using the Pavo MQTT API on their other end. All it knows is that it's subscribed to a message, and it doesn't care who or what sent it. It will receive the message regardless of the protocol that it was sent to the broker with. So extremely powerful, and again, very dead simple to accommodate protocol translation.
Okay, so how would someone enable the data movement to OpenFin apps if the message broker doesn't have native WebSocket support today?
Yeah, so that's a lot of what our customers are seeing as well. So the way you do that is you'd have to manage you'd have to run a managed container of your .NET or Java app within your OpenFin framework, and then you'd have to run it. So the problems that it presents there is that you're now relying on your developers having to manage your front-end JavaScript code in HTML5 as well as your .NET or Java apps within OpenFin. And so you ideally want that separation between your Java code and your JavaScript code. And so your Java and Python and .NET code should be running outside your OpenFin framework, not particularly on your server side. And so this enables that. You communicate to Solace WebSockets and pure JavaScript, and your server-side processes continue to run in Java and Python.
Great. So just bringing that back to what I mentioned earlier about legacy tech migration, right? Yeah. This is what we're saying about making it, half the lift is essentially done for us. We're just able to focus on that front end OpenFin, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question in the chat with regards to message loss as well, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to answer it, but
okay.
Okay, I'll answer by text. Gotcha. Good.
You want me to answer it, or?
You can speak to it if you want.
Yeah, I can speak to it. So the question is, can you repeat the question?
For a disconnected client, how many missed messages will be held? Yeah,
so great question. So there's two modes of message delivery within Solace. You have concept of guaranteed messages, which you typically use for order flow, for example, and you have market data, which is typically sent non-guaranteed because there are thousands of ticks a second, and you don't want to guarantee it, because if you miss a message, it will be, the next update will be sent the next millisecond or microsecond even. For guaranteed messages, we persist it to disk, which means that the publisher publishes a message, we persist it to disk, and if the consumer is slow or offline, it will only be removed from disk once it's delivered. And you configure how much of disk you allocate to Solace. So you take all that into consideration, and it will only be delivered to you once the consumer's online. Any further thoughts you want to add to that?
No, I'm answering another question, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. All right, so now we're going to show you how easy it is to stand up a Solace broker in the cloud. All right, so this is a managed cloud offering. So the first thing you do is you navigate to cloud.solace.com. Right, and you log in with your credentials, and I've already set them up, so I'm going to sign in. Now I'm going to create a service, which is essentially a message broker. I'm going to call my message broker OpenFin demo. I'm going to launch it in AWS. I'm going to choose a US West region, click OK. I'm going to click on Start Service. And voila, you have a message broker that's fully managed and stood up for you, and you get access to a dashboard. And I'm going to navigate to the Connect tab. The Connect tab is going to give me information on how to connect to the Solace broker over multiple protocols. In this case, I want to figure out how to connect to the Solace broker over the REST protocol. And I'm going to take note of those credentials and connectivity details for the web form that I've developed. All right, so next thing I'm going to do is set up a bridge from my AWS broker that I just spun up to the broker that's running on my laptop. And again, this could very well be in your data center. So I navigated localhost 8080, which is the administrative GUI, which you get with the broker. I'm going to click on Click to Connect. Click on PubSub plus Cloud, enter the credentials, which I just entered in the web portal. Now I'm going to select remote messaging service, and you can see the OpenFin demo pops up. Click on remote connection setup just to validate the connectivity and the connectivity details. And I'm going to set up the bridge and test the connection. So now we've established a bridge from AWS's message broker to my local message broker. Next thing I want to do is I want to put in data on what type of messages to route. So I'm going to send data from AWS to my local message broker, and I'm going to send messages that start with OpenFin, Solace, Trade. That will be the topic that I'll be bridging. Right? I do that. Now every message published on that topic will now be bridged to my desktop and ultimately to my OpenFin client. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some slight code changes to OpenFin grid, trade blotter grid, to receive a message. And so in the event listener, I'm just going to start up a topic subscriber. The topic subscriber, again, is subscribing that topic metadata, OpenFin Solace Trade. And it's doing some very simple string manipulation, JSON manipulation to get it into a construct that the grid API will understand. And that grid API's construct is a raw data transaction. And from there, you just update the raw data and you call topic subscriber run. That will instantiate the connection and start the subscription. And it will receive trades on that particular topic and push it into the grid. Right. So again, very, very simple code, JavaScript code. We're not doing any server-side processing here. And now I'm going to send a trade from AWS to my OpenFin desktop over a RESTful form. So I've developed this form already. Again, it's simple RESTful post. The code is not too fancy, so I'm not showing it. It's just doing RESTful interactions. I'm going to put in details for the trade. I'm going to click Submit Trade, and it's going to pop up in my OpenFin blotter, which you see on the top. Right. So that's pretty much it for a demo. But just to recap, just to go over again what we developed, we showed protocol translation from your OpenFin desktop over WebSockets to your server-side processes using open standard APIs, and we also spun up a message broker in AWS. We established a bridge from AWS's message broker, the managed message broker, to the message broker running my desktop. And we sent a trade over a RESTful interface to my message broker and had it stream over to my OpenFin client.
So I saw that you just used AWS. Can you do it in other public clouds?
Yeah, absolutely. So we offer the managed offering in AWS and GCP today. So you could click those buttons and spin up the message broker in AWS and GCP. We're going to be launching Azure shortly, soon as well. But our message broker also comes in a Docker container. So with the Docker container, you could spin it up into any public cloud. You know, we have customers spinning up the broker in Alibaba Cloud in China. So we're having them do that today. And you could create the seamless mesh if you will, of message brokers across your private, public, and clouds and your data center as well. So just show you how easy it is to set up that bridge, and with the click of a few buttons, you can set up that bridge between multiple clouds. And so that's what we offer as well.
So it was a RESTful post from the web form hosted in AWS that ultimately got routed to the OpenFin desktop.
Yep.
But did it happen synchronously or asynchronously?
So yeah, so in this particular case, it happened asynchronously. So the way it worked is that you post to Solace, you get the 200 OK, and then Solace is responsible for distributing that out to the PubSub Plus broker running on my laptop, and then it's streamed out over WebSockets to my OpenFin client. But you could very well have that RESTful post work synchronously as well. It's just a header you have to add. So it's a great way to enable event-driven architectures for customers that are currently using RESTful synchronous microservices. So you could migrate piecemeal-wise your RESTful listeners to get data streamed to it, and continue have your RESTful publishers publish in using the HTTP protocol. So a great way to sort of liberate your data and start streaming your data using that REST protocol, because we offer that seamless translation out of the box. So again, there's no adapters that stood up here. It all happened natively without the need for any sort of code, and you just expose the ports and you get those features enabled for you. So this is one of my favorite slides for Solace. And it shows you the ecosystem of protocols we support, and we do this seamless protocol translation. So I posted in to Solace using WebSockets, and I got the output to my OpenFin client over WebSockets. So we offer that seamless protocol translation, and you could also publish over JMS and get a response triggered over RESTful HTTP protocol. So you can mix and match these protocols. We also offer a proprietary API, which we offer things that for low latency trading, but for majority of our use cases, 99% of your use cases, your messaging requirements are going to be satisfied with these open protocols, which again meshes very well with OpenFin's concept of open standards and open APIs. So we accomplish that. So our Solace PubSub Plus offering, again, just to go over, we offer a variety of formats, Docker containers, managed offerings in AWS and GCP. We have VirtualBox support. Great way, if you're using Pivotal Cloud Foundry and want to enable data movement between your multiple private clouds instances or that are segregated, you could stand up a Solace PubSub Plus broker in Cloud Foundry. We're certified for the Red Hat OpenShift platform as well. So we have quick start guides there too. So variety of formats. And we also offer the managed offering, which I talked about. And again, just to highlight our entire ecosystem of offerings as well. We have the appliance, software, and cloud, and they seamlessly interop with each other and bridge between each other. So how do you get started? Well, you just go to the dev portal, and you could download the various container formats and spin it up on your servers or even on your laptop. And again, that GitHub repository, which was posted in the chat, will point you to these instructions on how to get it up and running. And you can also go to navigate to cloud.solace.com and sign up for a free message broker as well, without the need for putting in any credit card details. So a great way it's perhaps the easiest way to get started with Solace, with the Solace offering. Just go to the cloud.solace.com. All right, now we're going to open it up for questions.
Yeah, so for any of our customers, right, that are looking and building and developing on OpenFin, let's say we mentioned these are free offerings that we can do. What would it take one of our customers to engage with you to get this up and running?
Absolutely. So you could again, as I mentioned, you could download the offering from a portal, sign up for Managed Cloud, not have to talk to us. But our typical engagement, especially within the financial services world, is you would engage my solutions architecture team in the Americas, and we'd run through a full solutions architecture with you from start to finish of what you're trying to accomplish, put together a requirements document, architecture diagrams, help you stand it up, and then at no cost to you. And then once it's fully satisfied, we talk about pricing if your requirements dictate that you need to use anything other than our free offerings. So our free offering does come with optional support, so you can deploy it into production without having to pay for support. And but we also offer a supported version as well, and we offer an enterprise version too along with that.
Great, so open it up. Anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot it into the chat and we can answer accordingly.
On OpenFin, how you contact him.
So,
Is there any additional licensing costs to enable PubSub Plus and the Enterprise Edition?
Yes. So the enterprise. So just to go over the standard edition, it's fully featured. You get HADR bridging capabilities, but it's limited to 10,000 messages a second and 1,000 connections. When you go to enterprise, those limits go away, and so there are licensing considerations to be made with the enterprise edition. And happy to take those questions offline. Obviously, depends on your deployment size, and you'll have to talk to our sales team, and we could get a better idea of what you're trying to do and provide you an appropriate price. But our enterprise edition is licensed on a per core basis.
And for point of comparison, what that means is that the enterprise edition can push millions of market data quality messages per second, or 60 to 80,000 persistent messages per second. And as well, for our IoT use cases, the enterprise edition can be scaled up to accept 200,000 connections all on a single broker. So that's your decision point around those two. If you only need 1,000 connections and 10,000 messages per second, you don't ever need the enterprise edition. You can stick with the standard edition, buy support when you go into production, and you're good to go.
So if anyone on the call needs to contact Thomas or I, you can see our emails up on the slide right here. Actually, my email is not correct. Feel free to reach out. Also want to plug FinJS. Solace is going to be joining us here October 17th. FinJS is Wednesday, 5 p.m. at the Dream Hotel downtown. We will be sending links to RSVP there. We're also hosting FinJS in Stockholm on Wednesday, October 24th, also 5 p.m. At the Burns Hotel, and in London on Tuesday, November 13th at 5 p.m. at the Sway Bar. So please RSVP. We'd love to see you out there and talk about this in more detail then.
All right. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Great questions. And I know a lot of it's been answered over chat, and I had a lot of fun. We look forward to engaging with both OpenFin and our customers as well.
And also, we will be sharing a replay of this webinar, so it will be shareable. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
What type